Hi, how you doing, Eleanor? Good to
Hello,
see you.
hello.
Hi, everyone who's watching this. My name is Deanie Vallone. I'm the literary manager at Milwaukee Rep, working in our new play development department. And I'm so excited to have playwright Eleanor Burgess with us today. You may know her as the playwright of the Niceties, which a lot of you got to see this year. Can't believe it was this year. This has been a very long season. Eleanor is under commission with us at Milwaukee Rep, working on a new piece. And we're going to walk you, our audience, a little bit through that process, the different steps of that. So I think the first thing to talk about is the commission.
So commissions usually sort of grow out of some kind of relationship with the theater. And when you find artistic leaders, especially who you think are making work that you're excited about and that sort of have an audience that might be a good fit for the kind of work you're making, it's really a wonderful thing to find. In this case, we were sort of looking for what might be a next play that could be something that would be a good fit for Milwaukee Rep, and something that I was excited about. And I talked through a lot of ideas with Mark, and there was one that I had a big passion for that he was really intrigued by as well, which was the play is called Wife of a Salesman. And it's a riff on Death of a Salesman that departs in many substantial ways and in every way from that narrative to sort of refocus on the experience of women in mid-century America and kind of that like canonical image of like the time that was in America, to shift that lens. The commission sort of like grew out of this relationship, and it's kind of a way of having a place where you can grow a play, because a play is a very long process and getting there is a really long process. And so having a home where you'll work on a play is really exciting. And then also having a chance to deepen your relationship with an audience that you resonate with, an artistic leadership and team that you resonate with. It's so wonderful to return to working with collaborators who get what you do, and to have a chance to come back to an audience who knows a bit about your work as well. It's like, that's the dream. To be able to craft a play, you know, hoping that it will happen in multiple different cities and reach more people is really inspiring and kind of keeps you going. It also means that you have sort of more resources, partly in terms of, I think we'll talk more about what development means, but in workshops. But I've had a workshop in Milwaukee and a workshop in Chicago, which is 2 chances to refine a play with actors instead of just 1 chance. More people helping you along the way and contributing ideas and possibilities is it's really great.
Let's talk a little bit about the writing process leading up to the workshop, which generally comes after 1 or 2 drafts of the play.
I love to, when it's possible, it's not always possible, I love to write a first draft pretty quickly. I tend to, maybe it's superstition, I tend to think that the energy of a first draft especially, translates into a feeling on the stage eventually. It's really awesome to just have people to send it to who you trust. And that's where the commission comes in. You know, I would never send a first draft to a theater that didn't know my work or have a relationship with me, because a first draft is a big mess. Like, you know, a first draft is like, did you mean for there to be this dangling plot hole? Or like, did you notice how the tone changes 30 pages in? But having a theater that like knows you, they've read both Writers Theater and Milwaukee Rep, know the Niceties. They know that I have, you know, can grow a play until it's ready for production. So being able to sort of send this very early draft and say, like, what's going on? Let's talk about this, is such a luxury. And to not worry that, to know that you have more drafts and more attention and that you're not going to like instantly put people off if there's something crazy going on is wonderful. And so I think that, you know, I got these really early sort of germs of thoughts from all these collaborators that are kind of like, here's what I see going on, or here's what's really exciting to me, or maybe you should reread this. And I'm excited for you to pursue that. And a lot of what writers need frequently is someone to say like, yes, keep going. Like, you've gone this far and keep pushing on. And that's exactly the kind of support that I got. A workshop is a chance to hear the play with actors, and actors bring so much to it. I mean, I will say 1,000 times, plays are to be performed. They're not to be read. And at home on your laptop, plays can become books. Like, you're like, oh, that speech makes sense. And so much of what a play will end up being is actually brought to it by the actors. So having a chance to sit down with actors and sort of hear the play and get a feeling for how is the whole thing performing? Who are these women in this play? And how do they talk? And where do I want to know more about them? And where do I want to give them a chance to shout for the rooftops? And where do I want to, have one of them back off for a minute so the other one can speak up? And how's the whole thing feeling? Are there enough jokes? Is the whole tone the same? You sort of process that together. And we had the artistic teams from both theaters hearing the play, and again, sort of helping me hear all those moments.
It's not that you're just sitting there, watching it, and then after the couple days you go and write. It's a very active time for you as a writer as well.
It's an incredibly active time. It's almost like getting to have a supercharged writer's retreat. Because you're, in the city that I don't live in, with nothing to do but the play. There's no, and for me, I'm a working mom, to be away from home, just focusing on my writing, staying up till 2 a.m, tinkering with scenes and getting to hear them the next day. It's sort of iterative. You hear something from the actors, you have a chance to immediately say, like, oh, I wanted to hear this character do that, so I wrote the monologue. And then the next day you put it in the play and you hear it and you go like, oh yeah, that's working. Now I want this actor to have a chance to do this. And so you're sort of making these improvements incredibly rapidly, with really great instant feedback on how it's going. And I should also mention that idea of that ongoing, that relationship with the theater, when you're in the rehearsal room, to speak the same language as people is so special. Like, to have that longer term relationship where somebody, the dramaturgs and the artistic directors get to know you and know what kind of feedback is most helpful to you, and you know them and you know what they mean when they're saying certain things.
At Milwaukee Rep, when we do a new play, we allocate an extra week of rehearsal and invite the playwright to join us. And it's kind of extra time for them to continue refining the script, to get to work with the new actors and the artistic team. And then they usually will join us later in the process when we do the tech and add the lights and sound and projections and all the things the show needs, and get the script into tip-top shape. So can you talk a little bit about working on a new play through that process of the rehearsal and getting it basically ready for the stage within those couple of frantic weeks?
Yeah, the rehearsal, they are frantic, they're exhilarating. There's nothing like knowing that it's actually going to happen to sort of force you to have those final ideas. The design, to start to, you'll have your designers in some design runs. Sometimes they are there for the first run through. For a later design run, you get to be checking in with them and start to see models of how things are going to look, or see things loaded into the theater, and or even during tech to see how some of the design complements the storytelling, and all of a sudden you realize, I don't need to spell this out. I'm going to see this. Everyone's going to be able to feel this from the way that the set looks, the way that the lighting's changing, the way that this actor is playing this. You're able to finally craft the writing. And that's wonderful. But to me, the most important time is previews. I don't know if that was going to be your next question.
Yeah, please talk to us a little bit about what previews are and how you use them as a playwright.
Previews are with a live audience every night, but you're still changing things. You're still changing the script, the tech, the costumes, the set, the performances. And that's the most golden week to me of the entire new play process, because nothing is more educational than an audience. And, I'm excited. Wife of a Salesman, similarly, it's about marriage. It's about men and women. It's about America's past, and what that tells us about our present. And so to me, you learn so much from the night when a ton of young people who've never been married show up, and you learn a ton from the night that all the married people show up, and you learn a ton from, doing that in one city and then another city, and one subscriber base, one audience where they may have just seen an Arthur Miller and one where they haven't, and you're sort of learning constantly, does this work? Because you eventually want to write something that just speaks to as many people as possible.
We're so grateful for your insight into the process and sharing a little bit about what you do. I hope for our audiences that this is, again, a little peek behind the scenes, and we'll get people pumped even more about keeping up with the work we do and engaging with it as audiences, as, donors, etc.
Hopefully something that has shown through in everything that I say, and I truly, truly mean this, is like, thank you, New Play supporters, for one thing we didn't talk about is the financial support that a commission provides, which is the time and space to write, which is so important. Thank you, New Play audiences, for showing up. I hope I've communicated how much that's a central part of the process. And just to any person who loves theater, and especially anyone who is willing to take a chance on something new, thank you, thank you, thank you. We will be with you soon. We will all be together soon.